Welcome everyone to today's Ninja Skill Booster, leading teams in a hybrid workspace. What a topical topic, if that's such a thing to say. What an interesting topic everyone is talking about, interested in, potentially struggling with leading hybrid teams at the moment. We're doing so much work with our clients in this space, and it's not always easy for leaders particularly. So today is about the leaders. Today is about what can we do to support the leaders in this space. So let's get started. Welcome again. Great to see so many people joining us this morning. I'm just going to get my slide progression happening here. For those of you that don't know Think Productive, the business that myself and my team run and represent here in Australia, we're a global company based out of the UK, and we are all about helping people become productivity ninjas. We are all about helping people worry less, achieve more, and love what you do. That's what we do at Think Productive. Think Productive was founded by Graham Alcott from the UK. He's the author of this book. And I founded Think Productive Australia back in 2014 when I read this book and loved it so much that I thought that was my calling. And that's my full-time gig now as a productivity ninja. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Matt. You're very welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with the business on Facebook or Instagram, or send me an email and connect anyway, anytime you like, matt@thinkproductive.com.au. I'm very passionate about today's content. I'm very passionate about all the productivity ninja work that we do. So by the end of this session today, we love to start all our meetings or our workshops with a purpose. We will have explored some of the latest research around hybrid working. We will have explored the many challenges leaders are facing in this current day, and some of the ninja tactics to build trust. This will probably be the really interesting bit for some of you. What are we recommending as ways to lead hybrid teams? What have we got to support with this? So the session is being recorded today, and the recording will be available to you all. We'll send it out to you later this afternoon. But let's just see how you're all feeling today. A little check-in we like to do. This is a good one to do in this format where our only real interaction available is the chat. So I'd love you please to put in the chat a number and a word or two as to why. Which chihuahua do you feel like and why? It's just a nice little mindful moment to check in with ourselves. Nice work, Gavin. 9, go get him. Ruth, 8, not Friday yet. Yeah, I agree. 8, coffee. Yes, Matt, I just had a coffee. That's probably why I'm talking fast. 3, looking happy, Ashley. Thanks, Anna. Beautiful rain, yes. Some would disagree after so much rain. New job, need the weekend. Gym sesh done. Nice one, Sandra. Lots to do. 6Ks this morning. Great job, Tracy. All right, let me keep going. So just a bit of a check in there for everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Vivian. So I'm going to start by sharing some information from the PwC latest report on hybrid working, balancing act, the new equation in hybrid working. So PwC have been doing a lot of research on hybrid working and very generously publishing a lot of their findings. So you can go to their website and download this report and an earlier report they did on this topic and have a look. But here's some of the key findings that I thought were interesting, particularly for today's session. If you have a look at this chart, it shows what people's views were pre-COVID around hybrid working, or did they want to be at home? Did they want to be in the office? And pre-COVID in February 2022, and excuse me while I just look at the big screen over here because I can see this more clearly, and in February 2023. So what we're seeing here now, 69% of people are saying they would prefer to be working hybrid, which is some blend of home and office, obviously. 69%. Only 4% are saying they want to be full-time in the office, and only 27% are saying full-time at home. So hybrid working is here to stay. Hybrid working is what people want. This is the key, one of the sort of key findings of this latest research, that hybrid working's with us, here to stay. But what's interesting is, why do people want to go to the office? Because this is what a lot of leaders are struggling with, talking to us about, is they're struggling to get people to come into the office. So it's good to reinforce these benefits of coming to the office. So 44% of people said They're looking forward to coming to the office because they want to co-locate with their team. They want the social interaction. And this was interesting, 34%, so a third of people were saying they get better technology than what's available at home. So some interesting thoughts here. It's really around why come to the office as a leader, reinforcing these things. The other thing the PwC report really reinforced was that this is here to stay. And one of the key things that was, as an organization that trains people in hybrid leadership, this was a very interesting finding to see in the report and quite reassuring. Harness your leaders to ensure hybrid teams thrive. And what they said in here was only 1/3 of leaders have actually had any formal training on how to work and lead in this hybrid space. Only 1/3 of leaders. So there's a lot of leaders struggling. This is the key thing to be thinking about. So this is the perfect segue to say, we have a workshop called Leading Hybrid Teams, and this is essentially what I'm sharing today is some of the key content from this workshop. Obviously, the workshop goes for a couple of hours. So in today's 30-minute session, I can't share everything, but I'm going to share with you some of the best bits from today's session. So what if I can't see them? If I'm leading a hybrid team, it's tough. What if I can't see them? But there's a challenge I like to put out to leaders in this space. And I like to flip this question around and say, but what if you can see them? Do you really know what they're doing if you can see them? Not really. As a leader, we might look out over our team if we could see them all and think, oh, look, it looks busy. They're all busy. They're all head down. They're all pumping away on the keyboard. Doesn't really mean they're achieving their outcomes. Doesn't really mean they're focusing on their priorities. So this inner fear of, oh, but I can't see my team, is not necessarily such a big deal. Because if we get this reality check that even if you can see them, you don't really know what they're doing. So in this hybrid working space, we need to start thinking quite broad. Here are some of the key concerns that we found with hybrid working for leaders to be aware of. Team well-being. So many people are working longer hours, not taking breaks, feeling isolated. Work-life blur, the stress, the overwhelm, the burnout that's happening because people are not having good boundaries when they're working at home. So we always encourage people to have a good bookend, a good start and finish to their day, maybe a walk around the block that signifies their commute or something like that. So for leaders, being aware of this, maybe putting in some guidelines. Disconnection versus overconnection. Our teams who are out there working at home potentially and working hybrid, some people are feeling quite isolated, out of the loop, not as connected with the team, but some people are feeling like, oh man, it is a digital barrage of information, emails, Slack or Microsoft Teams or whatever it is, it's just coming at me all day. So we've got to find a balance in all this. And a lot of today's session does come back to this word balance. But in addition to the word balance, I want to add the 3 words, communication, 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 because that's really what helps in this space. Silos. What's happening with silos is people that are coming to the office more might be feeling more included, involved than people that are not. This can be forming little mini silos within teams. A lot of people are still facing high levels of stress from ambiguity and uncertainty. There's still COVID. This is still causing a lot of uncertainty, but there's also a lot of uncertainty in work. What's happening in the economy? What's happening with our hybrid working policy? If your organization doesn't have a hybrid working policy yet or doesn't have clarity around this, even that's causing stress. So it's good to be working on these things. Flexibility and inclusion, being clear on what the flexibility rules are around hybrid working and being sure that people are included in these discussions, not necessarily always the decisions, because sometimes the decision just has to be made, but included in the discussions, included in the communication, included in being heard around their concerns. So lots to think about here. I'm going to get into some of the techniques that we recommend for leaders to support their teams with this. I do just want to check to see if there are any questions or anything coming up in the chat. In this webinar format, we can only have a 2-way communication through the chat, but would anyone like to ask a question in the chat? Please feel free to put it in there and I'll just keep going, but I will keep an eye on the chat. The first area as a leader is to make space for what matters. This is sort of part of a productivity definition, if you like, as well, which is working on what matters. Doing the important things, like, comes back to this essence of prioritization as well. But how to do this with a hybrid team, how to have a conversation with our hybrid team around this. Here's a good conversation starter, if you like. Talk about this spectrum of reactivity. Where do we sit as an organization or an individual on this scale of reactive to proactive? Where should we sit and where do we sit? Now, sometimes this depends on the industry. Some industries need to lean a little bit more towards the reactive side than the proactive side. So that might be a nature of the industry or the organization you're in, but also it depends on our role. Some roles like PAs or EAs very much come down to this reactive side with a bit of proactivity. And then other roles like project managers, leaders, more down this proactive end. So even this is a good tool just to have a conversation with the team around where do we sit. What's often happening with hybrid working is we're being more reactive. We're definitely leaning more towards the reactive side than we should be, especially as leaders. So if you're sharing this information with your leaders in the organization, or if you are a leader, really have some deep thinking at the moment around what can I do to help move myself more to this proactive space. And these are things like getting out of our emails, turning our Outlook offline or turning the emails off, turning the phone off, putting Microsoft Teams on Do Not Disturb or busy, proactively doing these things so we get some time out of this constant day of interruption and digital barrage that I mentioned earlier. So thinking about this really helps. In our Leading Hybrid Teams workshop, we talk about these 4 different modes of work. We also have another workshop, the Productivity Ninja's Guide to Hybrid Working. That's quite a handful, but these 2 workshops work together. The Guide to Hybrid Working is for everyone, whereas the Leading Hybrid Teams is for the leaders. In both of these workshops, we talk about these 4 different modes of work. And these sort of, the 2 extremes are solo work, when I'm working on my own work in my own time and I'm in the zone and I'm head down, to teamwork. I'm working with others at the same time in a room, in a collaboration of some sort. So depending on the type of work that needs to be done, we can start to plan and set up our environment to support that type of work. So once again, this is a good tool or a good slide to lead a conversation with the team, just to get people thinking, get people talking about these things. Another aspect of being a leader of a hybrid team is to get the mindset around focusing on impact. Really start to focus on the impact and the outcomes rather than the tasks and the day-to-day monitoring time and things like that. Monitor the output. So we need to be okay with this. We need to be okay as leaders that people might be working on an island, or people might be working at the beach or in a cafe or in their backyard. We need to be okay with this. So as a leader, it's, if we're focused on the outcome and we're focused on the impact, then it doesn't matter where people are working, because some people are getting stressed out about where their teams are. They're wanting to do 9 o'clock check-in calls in the morning and they're wanting everyone to be logged on in their home office. Doesn't necessarily have to be like that. So shifting our thinking from like the time and the physical presence to the outcome, completion of the outcomes, getting things done on time at the right level of quality. This is the shift that we need to be making as leaders. Part of what can help here, and this comes from Brené Brown's work. I've been doing quite a lot of Brené Brown reading lately. Fantastic stuff there. She talks about painting done, the importance of painting done. So as a leader, what are these outcomes? What do things look like when they're done? For example, what if I was to say to you all, and I want you to put this in the chat for me, please. Can you please bake a cake and bring it to the office tomorrow because it's someone's birthday? What sort of cake would you make? I'd love you all just to put, what sort of cake would you make? What's your favorite cake? Let's see some ideas in the chat here. Bake a cake, bring it in. Blondies, banana, chocolate, coconut, a packet of one. Yeah, me too. Carrot cake. Oh, I love carrot cake. cheesecake, lemon cake. I'm getting hungry now. Brownies, cinnamon. Okay, as the point here is all these different types of cake. So if I just said to you, the outcome is bake a cake, bring it to the office. Well, we'd get this whole range of different cakes. What I actually was hoping someone would bring would be a triple layer, multicolored princess cake like this, okay? No one's going to do this unless I clearly define the outcome. And together we clearly agree the outcome. Maybe I do show you a picture. Maybe together as a team, we brainstorm what are going to be the issues. So as a leader, I might have been bitterly disappointed because you all turned up with all these different cakes, which was lovely, but not the thing I wanted, not the thing that organization needed or I needed. So this is this idea of painting done. Make sure the team is clear on what are the outcomes, what are we achieving here. All right, we're halfway through. So just everyone take a nice deep breath, have a little wriggle. In a half-hour session like this, we don't do official breaks or anything. So the next concept as a leader to be thinking about with our teams is trust. Trust is big. Trust is a really big issue here. Not so much an issue, but a big focus that we should be thinking about. Trust can be called the organizational lubricant. Trust is the thing, the invisible, but what's the word for feelable? The invisible but feelable thing that we can have in a team. If someone can put a word in the chat for feelable, that'd be good. The invisible and feelable thing, tangible, yeah, but it's a feeling on the inside. It's not tangible. Sorry, it's not like touching is tangible. It's what am I feeling in my heart? It's a sense. Yeah, thanks. Trust is a sense of what's going on. Thanks, Gavin. So how do we build trust? If we're working as a team, we need trust. We need to bring everyone in, have everyone supported. Higher levels of trust mean things get done faster. We can make decisions faster. We're not having to tiptoe around each other, and this reduces cost. So wouldn't we all love this? You know, if I said, here's a magic pill that's going to increase the speed that you're all working at and the effectiveness and reduce the cost, it's trust. Stephen Covey calls this the trust tax or dividend. If trust is low, it's a tax. Everything we do has a tax on it. Everything we do takes more time, costs more money. But if trust is high, it's a dividend. Everything we do is easier, quicker, more flowing. So on this slide, we're not having a discussion as such today verbally, but I'd love you to put some ideas in the chat, please. I do love the interaction here, and I'll be reading some of these out for the recording. How can we build trust in our team? How do we build trust with others? What are some simple things we can do to build trust? And the way Brene Brown talks about this is the marble jar. Every time we build trust, we're putting a marble in and we can build it. We're building our marble jar. This is great. One of the challenges is every time we do something that negatively or erodes trust, we take out a handful. So trust is a pretty fickle kind of thing. So here are some thoughts. Thank you, Tracy. Do what you say you will do. Yes. Rachel, recognition of achievements. Thank you. Ruth, have a regular check-in time and stick to it. Don't micromanage or surprise your team. Yeah, I think this idea of sticking to our one-on-one meetings, sticking to our times is really important. Nice one, Vivian. Really listen. Yes. And you know what's interesting about listening in this day of digital communication? This came from a book called Digital Body Language that I was reading that said, carefully reading someone's email, carefully reading some written communication is the equivalent to good listening these days, because so often people are not reading emails carefully. Ask how you're feeling and really listening. You have to demonstrate that you trust them. They won't trust you if you don't feel trusted. Yes, be transparent. Some great ideas here. I won't read them all out in the respect of time. Another one I like to share is admitting our mistakes. Admitting our mistakes is a big one. And also a very simple one here, ask for help. Ask for help builds trust. That's a nice, easy one as well. So in our Leading Hybrid Teams workshop, we play a little game where we get people to think about their team. And I'll go through this quickly today in the interests of our Ninja Skill Boosted timeframe. But if their team leans towards the green side, we say give yourself a +1. If their team leads towards the red side, give yourself a -1. And we go through some of these examples. People acknowledge their mistakes compared to they hide, they aside blame, they change the subject. So it's either a +1 or a -1. I'm going through these quickly, so you may not have a chance to really think about your team here. We talk straight, +1, or we double talk, hide and flatter, -1. We deliver results, or we deliver activities. That's a different point here, isn't it? We improve, or we repeat the same mistakes. This comes back to this idea of admitting our mistakes. We make and keep commitments, or we make elusive commitments. So some interesting thoughts here. So we play this little game with the leaders, and we don't necessarily put them on the spot, but we say, score your team on this. So you can do this with your teams, even have a conversation with your team around this and score your team on this, and you'll get a feeling for what is your level of trust. What also comes into all of this is our ninja characteristic of human, not superhero, really getting into team well-being, supporting everyone with what they need, but just encouraging people to be looking after themselves. Make this a thing. We recommend having something like a Truth Tuesday or a Wellness Wednesday, where we get everyone, even just in a chat room, to share how they're feeling, something really honest about their life, so we really get to know each other a little bit more. And the final part of leading hybrid teams is letting go. It seems simple, doesn't it? When we've set the outcome, when we're more focused on the impact than the activities, when we've built a culture of trust and we don't need to be checking in on each other all the time. As the leader, how do we let go and just let the team do their thing? So this is interesting, and this is just a little way of, once again, having a conversation around this, thinking about control. One end is micromanagement. People don't want this. People don't want to feel micromanaged. But the other end is abandonment. If we just say, go team, off you go, it's almost like, I don't care, you go and do your thing. So we've got to be very careful with the two extremes here. So we talk about the level of Goldilocks control. How do we find this point of just the right amount of control? Might not be in the middle, might be somewhere on this spectrum. And this is all about having good conversations with our team. How are you feeling? Are our check-ins long enough, regular enough? Do you feel a part of the team? What do you need? Are you confused? It really comes down to what some of you were saying in the chat here, asking the right questions and listening to the responses. So before I wrap up with a couple of other ideas and other activities we've got coming up to support you in this space, are there any questions, comments, or any shares? Feel free to just put some thoughts in the chat. If anyone wants to talk, I'd love anyone to talk if you'd like to. I could give you that power if you like. I can press the talk button if you'd like to talk. Just put talk in the chat. Yes, Ashley, this is recorded. I will be sending an email out to everyone this afternoon with the recording. So if you haven't received the email by the time you're finishing work today, check your spam. We send a lot of emails out from our sort of CRM system, and unfortunately, your IT people are very good at spamming them. So yeah, I haven't quite finished the session yet. Thank you, Tracy. Excellent. So some extra resources for you. We've got coming up our Ninja Think Tank on hybrid working. Once again, there's no charge for this session. This is really for HR leaders, people and culture, but also for team leaders who are wanting to have a discussion around hybrid working. This is going to be more around group discussion, a meeting format rather than a webinar format like this. So I'm going to put some links in the chat for you just now that relate to some of the things I'm just talking about here. So here are a few links. The Ninja Think Tank is the second link there that you can see. If you'd like to register for that, please feel free. You'll see all the details on the website. The other thing we've got coming up is another 6 weeks to Ninja program. We just finished our last 6 weeks to Ninja program yesterday. And by the way, everyone in the feedback rated the 6 weeks either excellent or very good. So we were stoked with that because it's a long program and it takes a lot of work from people. So we worry that people might get a bit frustrated or confused halfway through, but no, we got excellent and very good from everyone that attended that workshop. So If you're interested in the 6 Weeks to Ninja program, bookings are available for that at the moment. So have a look at that. And we do a whole range of workshops. If you want us to come and support your team or your organization, get in touch with us. We can come and deliver a workshop and, you know, support your team with anything you need. And finally, some of you know, we have a giveaway sometimes in these Ninja Skill Boosters. Just send us an email to hello@thinkproductive.com.au with the subject Work Fuel. This is another book written by Graham and his nutritionist, Colette Hennigan. We've got some copies of this we're happy to give away. So just send us an email, hello@thinkproductive.com.au with the subject Work Fuel. And if there's any other questions or anything, please let me know. I'm happy to stay here and discuss anything that someone would like to talk. Thanks, Yaron. Any questions? If you're interested in some of that content that I was sharing today, it all came from our Leading Hybrid Teams session, our Leading Hybrid Teams workshop. Yes, Ruth, I'm happy for you to share the recording. We actually put the recording on our YouTube channel, so as a publicly available recording. So yeah, we don't normally record our workshops or anything, but these Ninja Skill Boosters are designed to be very shareable. So please feel free, share far and wide. That's one of the reasons we do this, to support our community as much as possible. So share away. Any other comments or questions? Thanks, Dora. Lovely to see you here again. Thank you everyone for your lovely comments. We did it within the half an hour. Yes, that's always the goal. Thank you, Gavin. Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Janelle. Thanks, Janet. Little apostrophe there in your name, Janet. Is it Janet? Maybe. I'm not sure. Thanks for a focus session which helps clear the clutter in our daily work. Yes, my pleasure. Have a good day. If you've done the Ninja training, go and do some boss thinking. Remember that concept of boss thinking. Now, before you go and get stuck into everything, sit and think for a little while. What are my priorities today? What do I need to get done? Thanks, Jennifer. Yes, please share with your manager. Hopefully then you'll have a better manager. Oh, did I record this? Yes. Share this with your manager. If Jennifer's manager is watching this, thank you for all your hard work. Thanks, Madeline. All right, I'll stop the recording now and I'm staying on the line if anyone wants to keep chatting. Thanks for joining, everyone.